Ah, the newspaper. The old broadsheet has been around for 300 years, and somehow it's still kicking. Oh, an iPad mini. Let's be honest with ourselves for a second. We have devices now that beam us up-to-the-minute information about the world and everything everyone is doing. So how is this thing going to compete with this? Are we about to witness the death of the newspaper? Let's break it down in today's episode of Takei's Take. Every passing day brings more bad news about the news. Daily papers around the country are biting the dust left and right. As newspapers have moved online, ad revenues have virtually dissipated. In 2012, newspapers lost $16 in print ads for every $1 earned in digital ads. Oh my! And have you seen the newspaper recently? They're thinning faster than a hairline. The truth of the matter is that real journalism is not cheap. It requires time and energy and travel to track down leads and get the story right.
Extra, extra, read all about it!
If newspapers are going away, where are we getting our news? There are sites like BuzzFeed and Gawker. Sometimes it looks more like photo galleries and top 10 lists posing as news. And then there's Facebook and Twitter. But is this news? These feeds are certainly up to the minute and can sometimes break news. It's hard to distinguish opinion or fabrication from fact. Remember when everyone thought Jeff Goldblum had died?
Life finds a way.
What about citizen journalists? The people who are writing blogs and posting videos about what's happening in the world around us. This stuff is great, but here we run into some of the same problems. I wish there was someone who could make sense of all this for me. Ooh, amazing!
I'm delighted to be here.
Journalist and internet enthusiast Anne Friedman, welcome.
Hi, George.
How are you?
I'm excellent.
Tell us about your journalistic background.
Been a writer and editor for about 10 years, and I write a column for the Columbia Journalism Review answering journalists' questions about the future of media.
What do you think is going to happen with the newspapers?
Well, I don't think newspapers will live very long. I do think that the appetite for the news is quite strong, and all sorts of research says that people are consuming more information than ever, are hungrier for information than ever.
What's the difference between print news and digital news?
Mostly, it's the speed. It's that, in the newspaper world, you used to kind of spend a day putting together a story, and then someone would edit it in the evening, and then it would go to press, and then in the next morning, people would open it up and read it over their coffee. And now, things are still being edited and reviewed, and in many cases, fact-checked. Things are still being reported. People are still picking up the phone and talking to people, and it's just that it's all happening constantly, sometimes at the speed of a tweet, in 140 characters, and sometimes at the speed of a month-long project.
What is the news industry going to look like in 10 years?
I hope I'm not replaced by a robot of some kind. I hope I'm still doing this job in 10 years.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I think I have a lot more personality than a robot, which is increasingly important, as consumers make choices based on who's giving them the news.
So you're optimistic about the future of journalism?
I am.
And I share that with you. We have more options now, more people participating and getting different perspectives.
It's exciting to me that there are all these new ways for people to access the news. There's always going to be people who are misinformed, but that was also the case in a previous era. People bought supermarket tabloids.
That
happened,
Well, I'm still getting my New York Times in print. Well, this has been a very informative and enlightening discussion. And I think a lot of our viewers will be
following me on Twitter.
Following you on Twitter.
Thanks, George.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Here's my take. The newspaper industry is changing, and that's inevitable. But we still need good journalism. And when news websites are busy optimizing for clicks and peddling cheap opinions, we need to be more selective about where we get our information. And that's our show. Wait, before you run out and hug a newspaper, this is what you have to do. Subscribe to the channel, like this video,
And tell us where you think journalism is headed in the comments below.
And that's our take.
The longest hug of a newspaper
Until
of all
next time.
I'm here with you, which means my ride is available. So I'm renting it. Same goes for Vine, one of the fastest growing sites on social media.